These are 10 tragic plane crashes that wiped out entire sports teams. Throughout history, the deadliest aviation disasters in sports history have completely destroyed legendary franchises in an instant. If you love air crash investigations and sports documentaries, this video counts down the absolute worst sports team plane crashes of all time. We are looking at the exact plane crash survival stories, pilot errors, and aviation accidents that left empty locker rooms forever. Let's look at the deadliest sports-related aviation tragedy list. Number 10 is the Torino FC Superga air disaster. This historic soccer team plane crash occurred on May 4, 1949. The aviation accident happened when their Fiat G212 aircraft crashed directly into the Superga Hill near Turin, Italy, due to low visibility and thick fog. This horrific plane crash killed all 31 people on board, entirely wiping out the legendary Italian football club. It remains a foundational story in aviation disasters in sports history. That was a devastating football team plane crash, but number 9 is an even more famous soccer team aviation accident that completely shocked the United Kingdom. Number 9 is the infamous Munich air disaster involving Manchester United. On February 6, 1958, British European Airways Flight 609 became one of the most searched plane crashes that wiped out entire sports teams. The aviation disaster occurred during a failed takeoff attempt on a slush-covered runway. This terrible plane crash killed 23 people, including 8 Manchester United players known as the Busby Babes. It is a major case study in pilot error air crash investigations. The Munich air disaster changed English football forever, but our next entry is a U.S. sports team plane crash that forced the government to change flight travel safety rules completely. Number 8 is the tragic U.S. figure skating team plane crash of 1961. Sabena Flight 548 is a massive keyword in aviation history because this plane crash wiped out the entire 18-member American figure skating elite roster. The Boeing 707 experienced a catastrophic mechanical failure on its landing approach in Belgium. Because this aviation disaster destroyed an entire national athletic program, it forced modern sports organizations to split rosters across different flights to prevent another total team loss. This aviation accident changed travel safety forever. But what happens when pilots ignore flight regulations entirely? This next college football plane crash answers that question. Number 7 is the Wichita State University football team plane crash on October 2, 1970. This specific aviation tragedy is a classic case of extreme pilot error. The pilots of the chartered Gold plane took an unauthorized, low-altitude scenic route through the Rocky Mountains. The overloaded aircraft could not climb out of a narrow valley and crashed into a mountainside. This brutal plane crash killed 31 people, making it one of the worst college sports team plane crashes ever filmed. That pilot error crash was completely preventable. But shockingly, just weeks later, the United States would witness the single deadliest sports-related aviation tragedy in American history. Number 6 is the Marshall University football team plane crash. If you search for the deadliest aviation disasters in sports history, Southern Airways Flight 932 is always at the top of the list. On November 14, 1970, the plane clipped trees during a storm and crashed near Cerrito, West Virginia. This catastrophic plane crash wiped out an entire sports team of 37 players, plus coaches and trainers. 75 people died instantly, completely destroying the town's athletic program. Marshall University is the deadliest U.S. sports crash. But next up is the most famous plane crash survival story of all time, where athletes had to do the unthinkable to stay alive. Number 5 is the Andes flight disaster involving the Old Christians Club rugby team. This is the ultimate plane crash survival story. On October 13, 1972, a charter flight carrying the Uruguayan rugby team crashed directly into the freezing Andes Mountains. While many died in the initial aviation accident, the survivors endured 72 days in sub-zero temperatures. With zero food, they had to consume the bodies of their deceased teammates to survive. This is one of the most shocking rugby team plane crashes in human history. The Andes survival story proves how fragile life is. But back in the United States, another college basketball team plane crash was about to completely erase a university's entire roster. Number 4 is the University of Evansville basketball team plane crash. On December 13, 1977, Air Indiana Flight 216 became a prominent case file in air crash investigations. The plane took off in heavy rain and fog, but crashed just 90 seconds later. This tragic plane crash wiped out the entire sports team roster of 14 basketball players and their head coach. Investigators blamed a combination of bad weather, baggage loading errors, and pilot failure. Logistics caused that American tragedy. But our next entry involves an international soccer team plane crash surrounded by rumors of a military cover-up. Number 3 is the Zambia national soccer team plane crash of 1993. This aviation disaster destroyed Zambia's golden generation of football. Their military transport plane took off despite having a known mechanical issue. When an engine caught fire over the Atlantic Ocean, the panicked pilot shut down the wrong engine by mistake. This tragic plane crash killed all 18 players on board, making it one of the most heavily discussed international soccer team aviation accidents. Zambia lost its greatest team to a panicked pilot mistake. But in 2011, a single wrong foot placement caused a massive professional hockey team plane crash in Russia. Number 2 is the Lokomotiv Yaroslavl hockey team plane crash. On September 7, 2011, a chartered Yak-42 aircraft crashed immediately after takeoff in Russia. This horrific aviation disaster completely wiped out the professional roster of the KHL hockey team, killing 44 people, including former NHL stars. The air crash investigation revealed a shocking cause. The co-pilot accidentally pressed the wheel brakes during the takeoff roll, preventing the plane from climbing safely. This is the worst hockey team plane crash in history. A tiny mistake on the pedals killed an entire hockey league roster. But our number 1 spot is the most devastating modern soccer team plane crash, caused entirely by corporate greed. Number 1 is the Chapecoense football team plane crash of 2016. This is the most infamous modern plane crash that wiped out an entire sports team. Lamia Flight 2933 was carrying the Brazilian soccer club to their historic championship final in Colombia. In an act of total corporate negligence, the pilot skipped a refueling stop to save money. The plane ran completely out of fuel and crashed into a mountain, killing 71 people. This aviation tragedy remains the most heartbreaking soccer team plane crash of the digital age. These are 10 tragic plane crashes that wiped out entire sports teams. Thanks for watching. Click the video on your screen right now for our next video. Don't forget to like, comment your thoughts on these aviation accidents, and subscribe for more sports history documentaries. See you there.